Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Take that.
It is Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Look who made it to town.
Yeah.
DeQuell Jackson. We don't have to see you in a little box. You're in person.
There he is.
I'm here,
The building.
live in flesh. Yes.
Hey, man.
And he
by the
brought
way-
us.
Hey, by the way, show that man love, man. You see what he brought us. See how he pulled
Yeah.
up.
Tell us what that is, because
So
the
this
average drinker probably won't even appreciate it.
So it's actually at every bar. You just don't look for it.
Yeah.
Scotch whiskey, Caribbean cask. It is deliciousness on your tongue.
Wow.
And I usually drink this with a big ice cube or a cigar. So if you like cigars,
That's a man's drink
This is a
right
man's
there.
drink.
So
that's
just one
why-
ice cube? That's
yeah,
the way to go?
one big ice cube.
One big
And
ice cube. That's what I'm doing.
Dude, thank you. Seriously, thank you for
man.
that.
I'm gonna mess around and just devalue it. I'm gonna just have a square. Just a random square. G. Bush, you smoke? Yeah, I got this Camel Light.
Not to be enjoyed with a Camel Light.
Right.
This is for grown folks right here. So
there you
McNuggets, he couldn't have it.
He's out.
No.
What do you have to say about that,
You can't be a
McNuggets?
grown man with
I
a baby
kind
face
of took a
to
little
drink
bit of
this.
offense to that, DeQuell, but hey, I throw jabs at him, he throws jabs at me. I'm pretty sure there's a fifth one in the back. He just didn't bring on set.
So you think there's something waiting for you after the show?
But I think I got the double size one.
They were taking a picture before the show. We took a picture of the two of Mikey and DeQuell like squaring off the box. That fight would be over very quickly.
Oh, it
Yo,
wouldn't be a
fact.
fight.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be
that's not a fight.
That is
One
not-
punch in the
However,
floor.
that's to promote their basketball game,
Yeah.
which will happen the next time you come to town.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
McNuggets believes in his heart, with everything his 29-year-old body is worth, that he's going to win that competition.
Well, I mean, you have to believe you have a
That's true.
fight, but it won't be close.
Man,
I
this
can
man-
promise you, it will not be.
This
If
close.
we boxed, I'm
No.
dead.
Yeah.
If we
dead.
shoot 3-pointers,
Okay.
I'm living forever.
No game. No, just 3-pointers. We got to have a game.
I know,
should
we
do
do have
both.
to figure out the
We should do
parameters.
both.
We do both.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Figure it out.
Because I do think we have to have a game of 21, just
I
so
don't
I
know.
can see you back
DeQuell's
him
just going to
down.
back him down.
Yeah.
Though. Like,
I got a little mid-range game.
This is
All right.
easy. You guys got to understand. You play, if you play one-on-one,
Yeah.
it's called 3 dribbles. You get 3 dribbles.
No, I don't like to play like that. That's NBA. No, I can't do that.
You ain't got the game?
I made a mistake. My cousin, who played overseas,
Right.
he's 6'9", played basketball. We played 3 dribbles
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, that's
and
rough.
I'll never play it again.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah, that is tough. I've never heard of that rule.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not a long-range shooter
Right.
like our man is.
Yeah.
Okay, first, welcome. It's great to have
Yes,
you
great
in
to be here.
studio. I know the audience is going to enjoy that as well. Also, in the next hour of the program, Jason Lloyd from The Athletic is going to join us, and we're going to talk about a lot of the same things that we're going to get here in hour one, but we're also going to talk about the Guardians, who now, it's not official, but it's been approved by the owners in Major League Baseball. They have now taken on a minority owner who will own, at least this year, about 30% of the team, with the option to have majority and controlling interest within about 7 years. So we'll talk about that in the second hour of the program. But first, we have to start with a really interesting report yesterday from Mike Florio, Bull, your favorite,
Yeah, I don't like
of
him.
Pro Football Focus. I know you don't. Pro Football Talk, rather. So Florio wrote a column, and there were 2 big takeaways. Number one was the NFLPA is bracing for what he called unprecedented punishment of Deshaun Watson. Unprecedented, guys. I mean, I don't know how they can say that. We know what happened to Ray Rice.
Right.
He had the death penalty. He never played again after his punishment. The second takeaway in this was, if that punishment happens, the union is going to come on strong with an aggressive defense that is going to be centered around comparing Watson's punishment to 3 owners who had similar issues with women that really faced no discipline whatsoever. So, and by the way, it's not just 3 owners, it's 3 cornerstone owners.
And Daniel Snyder
Kraft
had
of the
yeah.
Robert Kraft of the Patriots, Daniel Snyder of the Washington Commanders and Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. So these are three prominent guys that had their own issues.
And Jay, Daniel Snyder in particular, like there is a boatload of allegations.
Well, Robert Kraft, there was
him.
videotape of him getting a massage illegally.
But yeah, sure. But to me, Daniel Snyder is much more like Daniel Snyder's been accused of just a workplace environment of bad treatment towards women. I mean, like across the board.
And guess what?
Yeah.
Sue Robinson, who is the former judge who has been appointed and approved by both the Players Association and the owners, is the one who's going to dispense whatever punishment Deshaun Watson gets. Her suggestion to the league, which they did not take, was that Daniel Snyder be forced to sell the Redskins. That's according to reports. She hasn't confirmed that. The league hasn't confirmed that. But according to reports, Sue Robinson was going to recommend to the league that Snyder be forced to sell his team.
He should have been.
I call them the Redskins. They're the Commanders now.
Yeah.
So basically, I just want to start with your reaction. And G. Bush, I want you to start. And you know why. Because you've been sitting in that chair for 3 or 4 weeks saying, hold up.
Yeah.
You can't have rules for players that don't apply to the owners. So go.
You're welcome, guys out there. I did a eloquent video that has reached over, I think it's over about 50,000. Another one that's over 28,000, 30,000, detailing exactly what you just heard. My argument, my case, and I just said, why do people believe that the NFL Players Association is not going to put up a fight? First and foremost, you are in a catch-22 here. Because if you have unprecedented, when you say unprecedented, never seen before penalties against Deshaun Watson, and then you look over to the people that are paying Deshaun Watson, the people who are owning these organizations, and they get zero, well, see, now you set up a catch-22. I argue that there's been 3 death penalties. 1, Ray Rice, never seen again. It looks like they're trying to incorporate this indefinite suspension for Deshaun Watson. And the second one is Colin Kaepernick. He's been erased. So you're saying that, and so when they say the shield has to understand, and you can't have certain conduct. That's a lie, because here's the thing: you've effectively gotten rid of Colin Kaepernick for simply kneeling. So you tell me,
with Josh Gordon too, you could throw him in there. They effectively ruined and ended his career for smoking weed.
So you're sitting here, we got to do this because it's the sexual assault, all the allegations, it's just way too much. Well, okay, you didn't think it was way too much when Kaepernick don't play, and you lost in court, and you had to pay him for collusion. I also will say, what happened? What happened to the Flores case? Because anybody heard anything about that Flores case? Oh, I'm sorry. John Gruden lasted how many days? 2? Where was all the John Gruden? He's done. He's gone. Let's shoo him up out of here. You guys have no moral ground to stand on. 0. So you better just give him, and I'm going to let you know something right now. I don't use the R word very, very loosely. But I'm telling you, if you give an indefinite suspension, you're going to have a problem with not only people on one side. You got a problem with people who look like me, who identify like me, and come from where we come from. Because there's obviously 2 sets of standards, 2 sets of outcomes, and 2 sets of penalties, depending on who you are. I'll just leave it at that.
DeQuell?
Yeah, I think the NFL here just doesn't have a good reputation when it comes to discipline. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Even when I played the game, when I was a player, you didn't know what outweighed what punishment would fit the crime. So here, the NFL just completely dropped the ball in this case. You feel like they have all the facts. We understand there were no criminal charges, but yet there's a ton of civil cases out here. Let's make a decision already. What are you waiting on? Make a decision. This unprecedented punishment, what does that even mean?
What do you think it means? Because
a year suspension. I think it means a year suspension, but not indefinitely from being able to work. There was no criminal charge. Again, I'm not trying to absorb him from any responsibility with these women accusing him of sexual misconduct.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. He has to share some blame here. But again, the NFL has continuously dropped the ball when it comes to mandating punishment, being proactive. The NFL has always gotten a bad name, in my opinion, of being this reactive kind of space, right? It's like if we get with the Ray Rice incident you brought up, they initially handed down, I believe it was a 4-game suspension.
Then the video
shows, and now it's like, oh, wait, we got to really, put the hammer down.
They underreacted, and then perhaps some say they overreacted.
Yeah, so they just don't have a good reputation when it comes to
Do you like the method that they've employed? Because the commissioner used to be the judge, jury, executioner. And to sort of take himself out of that bullseye of criticism, the league decided that they were going to go to an outside former judge, and they've agreed upon Sue Robinson as the person that will sit in that role. The owners approved her, and the players' union approved her. And at the time, I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good way of doing it, because at least you've got the union that says she's going to be fair and the owners. But now, even before this first big criticism,
it looks good.
She's in the crosshairs.
She looks good. It looks like you wanted to do something about it. But then again, you said,
lip service. You say
Daniel Snyder. I think you should force him to say, we're not gonna go that far, Sue.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't get beside yourself now.
We don't want you. We don't want you coming out with that. Don't mention that publicly.
Now.
Yeah. And I'm surprised the Players Association didn't go crazy over that.
And by the way, one owner we didn't mention, Jimmy Haslam, whose business got raided by the FBI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, his whole business got raided by the FBI. A lot of people got trouble for that. He got somehow off the hook, even though he was running the whole show. Okay, they were doing all kinds of shady stuff, and he got no punishment whatsoever.
Right.
So there is a double standard. We know this in the NFL. It's completely unfair. It's there. The owners don't even hide behind it. There's been no penalties for anybody, really, in any kind of legitimate way. In terms of what DeQuell was saying, inconsistency, right? Calvin Ridley got suspended for betting. Remember last year? He got bet for a full year.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon, all those suspensions. Now, the rules were the rules with Josh Gordon. You got to follow the rules. They're stupid. I think testing for marijuana is the dumbest thing on the face of the earth, unless you're a doctor or a pilot. But I don't care if you're smoking pot as a football player.
Especially when many
use
it as a pain relief.
Exactly. It's so stupid. And it's becoming legal smartly, finally, in a lot of states. I will say this. I think I've seen some of the tweets at Pat McManaman yesterday. They're disgraceful. Some people are saying idiotic things. Pat's entitled to his opinion. I think we all acknowledge that we disagree with him. Certainly G and I disagree with what Pat said yesterday. Right. But I respect his opinion to say that and have that belief. But the bottom line is
that, to my point earlier yesterday on Twitter, that's why it's a dangerous place to live.
That's right. But the bottom line is, guys, if they suspend him for any more than 8 games, if I'm the PA, I'm going bananas over that. Eight should be the max. I think it should be between 6 and 8. Let me just finish here. But any more than that is ridiculous, because, and here's the bottom, like, the idea that the league would be worried about too small a suspension because of PR is stupid. Because there's a guy who's done something bad on every football team, in every police station, in every fire station, in every radio station, in every office in America, and they don't lose their jobs over it unless they go to jail. Unless they go to jail.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. We can go through every walk of life. And it's stupid. If I want to protest everything that I don't like, well, I can't buy any clothes because they're made in places where there's child labor. I can't go to 15 different restaurants because I don't like their politics. Eventually, what am I going to do? Sit in my home and twiddle my thumbs?
This is tangential. I don't want to go down this road too much, but we have, in this cancel culture, that people have lost their jobs for tweeting their opinion.
Right.
A lot of people have lost their jobs for tweeting their opinion.
Yeah.
So, that's a societal issue. I think in general we've become less tolerant of people's thought. And
Colin Kaepernick has
and I wanted to clear
his
something
job
up too, G. I didn't want it to make it seem when Colin Kaepernick was never suspended by the league. What the league did to him was they just colluded against him to keep him out.
Yes.
Which is even worse.
Yes.
Because they tried to hide behind something, and they all got together and said, and look, they had to write him a check because it was going to go to court.
Right.
And he was going to.
Yeah, he didn't actually lose in court, but he would have.
He didn't lose in court, but the league felt that there was a chance that they could lose.
Yeah, right. They were going to.
And so here's one of the points that I want to make before we move on off of this. The reason this is a brilliant strategy from the NFLPA, 2 reasons, I think. Number one, there is a line in the personal conduct policy, and I don't know, McNuggets, if you took this graphic yet or not.
We got it, yep.
But I'll read it. The line from the personal conduct policy reads like this: ownership and club or league management will be subjected to more significant discipline when violations of the personal conduct policy occur.
Wow.
Not just players,
Wow.
ownership and management. And here's the real genius behind this strategy. The NFLPA knows that the league did its own internal investigation.
Right.
But here's what they're going to do. They're going to drag the owners to court, and they're going to say, we need discovery. We want everything you found in your personal investigation.
Right.
Because it was very interesting. The investigation into the then Redskins, or Washington football team, led to one person being disciplined, and that was John Gruden, who was not a league employee at the time, who said some terrible things in some email to the general manager of Washington at the time. You mean to tell me that voluminous investigation just turned up that? So the league now is going to have to take everything they learned in the Dallas investigation, the Washington investigation, as well as the, who was the other owner?
Robert Kraft.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to give it to the NFLPA. And they don't want that out of their hands.
Right.
So this might be a brilliant strategy by the NFLPA to leak this news, their strategy, to Florio in an effort to tell the league, careful, boys.
Yeah.
Because if you come down too hard, we'll see you in court. And we'll get to see all the evidence that you uncovered, that you buried on Washington, on Dallas, and on New England.
I'm putting my last comment to DeQuell. Let me ask you this question. You played in the league, man. And when you are told from a standpoint as a player, you can't do this, you can't do this. They got symposiums where you can't do this. This is how you can mess up. They got motivational speakers. Your coaches tell you. How does it feel as a player when you've been told since the beginning about accountability? That big accountability word is huge in the league.
Right.
But yet and still, you see the owner do something, and then you see coaches do something. How does that make you feel as a player? And do you kind of like look at it like, really? Like this is we don't have the same set of standards.
Right. You realize you're playing under a different set of rules than most people. And ownership, from a player standpoint, when all this is happening, Daniel Snyder's, all these owners being caught up in this misconduct, as a player, you realize right away you're operating on a different set of rules. And the game I'm playing is completely different from theirs. So it's a very slippery slope you have to play. And if you understand it, you have issues. You have this double standard with the league.
Was that talked about a lot amongst players?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, guys, we forget there was a guy in the league who didn't get an unprecedented punishment, who actually killed someone.
You're right.
Wow, you're right.
And he was able to come back and
You're
play.
right.
You're absolutely
I forgot
right.
about that.
So
Dang.
we can go back to the history of the NFL and look at the inconsistency of punishment. So that's been an ongoing conversation throughout players, coaches, in its entirety.
Unfortunately, in America, the 1% does whatever the hell they want, and they face no consequences.
And I think that this issue in the NFL may change that at this league level. One other thing I wanted to point out, I mentioned John Gruden, who was the one who lost his job when they were investigating Washington, and Gruden wasn't even an employee of the league. A judge recently ruled that his lawsuit against the league can go forward. And the reason that is important, because if the league doesn't settle with John Gruden, and my guess is they will, and the reason they will is because all of the stuff that they uncovered in that investigation is going to become evidence. And we're going to learn about it. And the one thing the league is very good at doing is burying stuff they don't want anybody to know about.
Some Congress people are asking for the whole Washington investigation.
Absolutely.
Which has been released.
So the league is in a very tenuous spot right now. And this Deshaun Watson issue could end up being the powder keg that leads to big, big issues for the NFL. Let's see what happens from here. But I think it was a smart strategy by the NFLPA to really put the pressure on the league before anything comes out and lets them know, careful.
We're not letting it go.
Because we're not letting this go.
Jay, we got it. DeQuell yesterday was at Brown's camp, and he saw Deshaun Watson practice.
Yes.
And you said something to me about watching him. Can you share that with the audience?
Yeah. So, I spent 8 years here in Cleveland, and carousel of quarterbacks. I get to Indy, you can tell Andrew Luck, the way the ball comes out of his hands is just different. Yesterday, watching Jacoby Brissett and watching Deshaun Watson, stark difference. The ball was crisp. He knew where he was going with the ball. It just feels and looks different. And listen, whenever he's able to play, he's going to be a difference maker right away.
Special.
Earlier this week at mandatory camp, Jadeveon Clowney had something to say that caught everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Mikey, Steve, if we can roll that soundbite from Jadeveon Clowney, and then we'll react to it on the backside. But this caught everybody's attention.
I was all about where my boy Deshaun was going. When I talked to him, I said, I played with him, and he kept us off the field a lot. And I was like, wherever you go, I know you're going to keep us off the field. You put up a lot of points, put us in rush and rushing situations instead of having to stop the run all the time. And I just wanted to go play with him and see what I can do with him again. Yeah, I talked to him a few times before he signed. And after he signed, stayed in touch doing that whole little thing about coming here and if he come or if I come, what's going to happen. And I told him if he go, I'll follow him up here. I'll go back. So that's what it came down to.
Wow. Interesting because it took a lot longer for him to sign than a lot of people thought.
Right.
And you would think that if that was his sole criteria, he would have signed way earlier. So, but take it for what it's worth. What do you make of that? Would you have ever followed an offensive player?
Hell yes.
Yes. You probably just didn't play it with any here that you would have followed.
Right. So so when I was let go in 2014 here, I had in my mind, I was going to go to a place that had a quarterback.
Yeah.
All the things that Jadeveon Clowney alluded to, hey, someone that can keep me off the field, someone that can move the chains, someone that's a difference maker. Let's say it came down to Denver and Indianapolis, which was Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Yeah. So absolutely, I get it. For him being a veteran in the league, he's looking at, hey, when I don't want to play 75 to 100 snaps a game. Playing with a difference maker, you go from 75 to 100 snaps a game to maybe 55 to 65 snaps a game.
That could add a year or two to your
Absolutely.
career.
So it definitely makes sense, and I would definitely do it. If I had a chance to do it all over again, I would. Yeah, it absolutely makes all the sense in the world.
But what do
Plus,
you
they
make of
have the
those comments?
relationship already, right?
Right.
They played
you know
together in Houston.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, the quarterback on the team, if he's the guy, is revered, right? It's like you want to play. Everybody wants to play around that guy. Plus, beyond that stuff, which I don't think I would have thought about as a non-player. Which
I wouldn't have thought of the number
right.
of
You
plays.
wouldn't have thought about that.
I just would have thought of the chance of winning is increased.
Right. When he says it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But also, you're more likely to win a Super Bowl playing with Deshaun Watson if he's on if he's able to be on the field than you are with whoever the hell else you might some schlubby quarterback on another team. So yeah, it makes total sense to me.
It does. The way you framed it was very smart.
I'm just laughing. Go back to shout out to G. Bush. He won it today, man. You guys keep confirming my
People's
stories.
champ.
Yeah.
By the way, I told you, go back and check my timeline. I told you in late October, early November, I said Jadeveon, this is from, and these sources were good. Shout out to y'all, by the way. I told you Jadeveon Clowney is not signing back with the Cleveland Browns if Baker Mayfield is the quarterback. I told you that. I tweeted it. I also told you that if they got Deshaun Watson, that Jadeveon Clowney was signed, and he has signed. Now, the reality of the situation is there's lots of defensive players. The whole entire defense is thinking that way. He says something, and I can totally, completely understand as a defensive lineman. Ain't nobody trying to sit up here and defend the run. I ain't trying to be doing inside tackle drill. I'm getting double teamed. They running zone. I'm getting chipped. I'm getting cracked back on by the tight end, and it's 2nd and 3. You know what they can run in 2nd and 3? Anything. You out here looking crazy. We want to get you in 3rd and long, 3rd and 12, and now I can get out here and rush the passer. That's what I get paid to do if I'm Clowney. When you don't got a quarterback, they running the clock out on you. They pounding you, running play action on you. The linebackers is biting. Nobody wants to do that. And plus, here's the thing. You know this. You played. When you got a quarterback that you know can come back, don't you want to give him the ball back?
Absolutely.
Don't you want?
Absolutely.
Hey, come on out here, guys.
Let's get a 3 and out and get it back to him.
You remind me of a memory when we were in Indy. Anytime it was 3rd down, the offense had the ball and they converted. Guys on the sideline, the defense would start dapping each other. Hey, we can sit another 2 minutes.
Post it up.
That's huge.
Guys pay attention to the floor of the game, and when you have a guy that can move the chains, keep you off the field, like you said earlier, it adds years, it adds a little more juice, and
Does it also make you more relaxed? If you know your quarterback is good, are you kind of in a way more relaxed on defense because you know the quarterback can come back even if we do blow it, whatever, the quarterback can come back?
That's a great point. My first year in Indianapolis, I felt that. I felt that from the defensive guys. Like, why is this so lax as compared to being in Cleveland? Guys were, every snap was everything. Yeah. And I had a problem with it, and it caused some friction in the locker room at one point. I'm like, you guys are too freaking lax because you guys have 12 back here.
Right.
No. And so, that was one of my issues there. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
That happens a lot.
It happens
in the league.
It happens.
I was in Tampa from '98 to '03. It ended with them winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But in '98, '99, 2001, 2, they had great teams. They had Warren Sapp,
Yes.
Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber.
Yes.
All those were defensive guys.
Right.
And in camp, when it was hot and everyone was irritable, you would hear guys from the defense yelling to guys on the offense, you guys better get your shit together.
Absolutely.
We've got to be better, guys. We can't be on the field 75% of the time.
Right.
And the way the seasons played out in those 4 years, the first 4 years I was there, was the defense was averaging 12 points allowed per game.
Yeah.
And they couldn't score 14. Trent Dilfer was their
Yeah, I
quarterback.
remember.
Then they brought in Brad Johnson. Gruden finally got the offense clicking
Yeah.
with Keyshawn Johnson, but they had to bring in guys. But there was always that friction between the offense and the defense when the defense was powerful and the offense just wasn't pulling their weight.
When you were on the Browns, down deep, was there did you feel like you were going to lose because the offense was no good?
We knew we had the conversation changed
Yeah.
on defense to us stopping guys to, hey, we need to score on defense.
Right. Yeah, right.
Like that was our mantra.
And if
Like,
you're
hey,
thinking the defense has to score to win, that's not a good
yeah, it
place
was like
to be.
we had to, and it was such a hard thing to kind of
Yeah.
quell the conversations of,
Right.
hey, guys, like we can't blame the offense, even though it was fair,
Yeah.
but you couldn't go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, the conversation, we got to score on defense. We have to generate 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
It's
Pitch a shutout.
almost impossible to do every game.
Yeah.
And you had to deal with it, but it was extremely frustrating.
But the players now, like Myles Garrett, Clowney, all these good players they have on defense, they're thinking, we got Watson.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to score a ton of points.
Yeah, I'm sure. Listen, with the addition, let's say when Watson does return to the field, the production we've seen from Myles Garrett will go through the roof.
You think?
Absolutely, because now he's not as tired. He's not. You're going to reduce plays by 10.
Does it matter too that if they're always if the other team is always playing from behind, that means more
Yes,
chances
exactly.
to get after quarterbacks.
Exactly. So to that point, let's say this offense is scoring right away. You get a 14-point lead. Now the opposing offense, you got to abandon your scheme. Now you have to throw the ball.
And
now
the defense
Myles
knows
Garrett
that.
can pin his ears back.
Yep.
And
we
he can
go.
get after. So it all works together.
I'm getting
and-
excited talking about this.
I know.
man.
Yeah.
I'm fired up.
The
The
defense-
pieces really are aligned.
Can the season get here already, please?
So, Bull, do you have anything in your glass here? Do you have a drink?
I have some water here.
Take a drink
Yeah,
because
okay,
I have
okay.
a feeling you're going to overheat on this.
Yeah.
next
Oh,
topic.
yeah. Okay.
So I want you to bring your body temperature down right now.
I'm not mad at Batonio
No,
for
I
the
know
record.
you're not. I
I'm
want you
mad
to
at
take a
Batonio.
big, deep breath.
Yeah. All right.
And I want you to listen carefully to Joel Batonio from camp. Was this Tuesday?
Yeah.
I think it was
Wednesday.
It was
right,
Wednesday.
right.
So from Wednesday's mandatory camp afterwards, he talked to the media, and he had this to say about Baker Mayfield. Listen.
Baker was my guy. I still remember, the Thursday night Jets game when he came into the game and helped lead us to victory. And that was, one of the more special moments in my career, just because it had been so long since we won games. And he's a tough guy, and he played his heart. He played his heart out for us, and I always respect that. He's still a friend of mine. We text occasionally, and I think like everybody else, he's kind of waiting it out to see where he's going. But Baker did a lot for this franchise. He won a lot of games. He was a great player for us, and I'll always be a friend.
All right.
Go.
So let me say this. First of all, Joe Batonio is one of my favorite players on the Browns. He's a great player. I said he's the most underrated player on the team. I think he's probably the second best guard in all of football behind, what's his name, Quentin Nelson from the Colts, right?
However, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Love the guy. He's phenomenal. Okay, I'm not mad at him, but let me get to a couple things. Number one, Joe Batonio in his, 7 years in the league, has never said a bad word about anybody. Never. Nor should he. I'm not going to rip any teammates. So I didn't expect him to say anything bad about Baker. But as soon as he said that, I rolled my eyes and I said, Jay and the Baker bros.
Yep, here we
they're
go.
all going to tell us, Batonio loves Baker. Batonio loves everybody. And Batonio's going to love Watson because he's going to get him even more wins eventually when he gets to play. All right? But the fans, the Baker bros that are obsessed with every time somebody says something nice about Baker, good. I'm sure most of his teammates like him. G and I know for a fact that there's at least one player on his team that does not like him, and he's a good player on his team.
You'd be hard-pressed to find any quarterback that doesn't have one guy on the team.
I don't know. He's an important player on the team. I'm not going to say who it is. You can say who it is if you want. But
did we confirm that was definitely legitimate?
We got 99% confirmation.
He's shaking his head.
It's
yeah.
98% confirmation.
You may have been getting catfished. And you know it.
Hey, but here's the thing.
Possible.
But here's the thing.
Chance.
This individual was sure right about Jadeveon Clowney.
That's true. He was.
Same source.
Yeah.
The same source.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same source.
Okay.
And
Oh, we can't do.
we can't. We can't reveal our sources.
The reason I brought it up, Steve, our executive producer, is off camera saying, "Say it, say it." The reason they're not going to say it because they're not sure.
Hey,
There's this much.
there's
this much.
Jay, we went
Be
through
some
the
Twitter
Tegner
wars.
journalism school. You taught the class on ethics, and I can't really go down
All
there.
I'll say is there's one of the players' parents has contacted both G and I.
And see, to me, that just sounds like y'all got catfished and didn't know it. Yeah, yo, I'm someone's dad.
There's a prominent beat reporter who claims that the person is legit.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. See,
So we
corroborated
believe
the
it.
story.
We believe it.
You can believe it.
Especially because that person told us that this player's two favorite broadcasters in Cleveland are me and G.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
That's right. That's why we believe it.
Hell yeah, I believe
That's right.
it.
Hell yeah.
Of course we believe it.
It's serious, bro.
All right. So here's the thing. The Baker Bros are still out there, okay? And listen, Baker's a nice player. Even though I said he sucks sometimes, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Overall, my analysis, when I'm being fair, which is most of the time, is that the guy is an average NFL quarterback. But as I have said before, because pretty much every quarterback the Browns have had for the last 40 years, outside of Bernie Kosar and Baker, has been absolute trash.
Careful, Tim Couch is in that family.
No offense. Tim Couch is in it.
Tim Couch had awful pieces
Tim Couch was in it.
around.
That's an expansion squad.
I take Tim Couch out of it because he's not even on the list.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Tim Couch was in
Well, that's why I
impossible
brought
spot.
that up.
Yes.
You said everybody but Bernie.
You're right. Tim Couch is just like by himself, an impossible spot. Could not possibly succeed in his position, and he played pretty well considering the
We also
circumstances.
had Derek Anderson who had a nice year.
He had 1 year.
Yeah, I know.
1 year.
I know.
That was
he
it.
did.
Yeah.
But when you see bad quarterback after bad quarterback after bad quarterback, mediocrity looks better than it is. Okay?
there's truth to
And
that.
that's what has happened here.
Yeah.
So he won one playoff game. All credit. I wasn't knocking him at the time.
You
I
couldn't.
wasn't. He played well. The defense played well. They got off to a good start. He won that game. Kudos to him. But one playoff win, even though this franchise was desperate for one, doesn't give you this great lifetime pass like you're the Messiah coming to town. That's not what the case is. In the end, they had a chance to get better at the position.
So Joel's wrong.
No, all Joel said was he still considers him a friend. I don't think anything he said wrong. What I'm bothered by the quote is just that it riles up the Baker Bros.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
Well, whenever someone says anything bad about Baker,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
love to put
love
that
it.
in the show. And Bull's
Love
like,
it.
we got to start the show with
Let's
this.
get Robbie Anderson.
We got to start the show
We're
with
talking
this.
about
That's a
Robbie
fact.
Anderson. Robbie Anderson, bring him to Cleveland.
Absolutely a fact.
Am I-
Joel is the first one to get in the group chat
yes.
saying,
So you know what it is?
we got to
It's-
start with
It's
this
like
today.
most things in life.
Yeah.
We cling on to things that fit our narrative, and we
course.
push away
Right.
those that don't.
Of course, but I'm not saying everybody on the Browns hates Baker.
No,
I'm
and
saying
even-
there's a few guys probably
and-
don't like him like anybody
And
else.
Aditi has said, look, guys, Baker was a great teammate, and his teammates loved him. She said that on this very show.
So I had a chance to talk to Ronnie Harrison, safety, and at the barbecue, and I asked him about Baker. He was like, "Hey, how was Baker as a teammate?" They absolutely loved the guy.
Yeah.
But I asked him about how do you feel about what's going on. He was like, "Listen, the general consensus was pretty much what we've been talking about all year." He's like, "Look, whoever management decides to play under center, that's who we're going to support. We like Baker. He's a good guy. I'll let him figure out his contract situation, and I'll figure out
And
my
that's
situation."
what smart players say.
Right. I assumed he was going to say that, but I'm sure he's seeing the difference of that ball flying off of Deshaun Watson's hand. And to your point, you'll be able to notice mediocrity, average to elite. It is that simple.
It'll jump off the screen at us.
Oh, yeah.
I've been married twice. I was married the first time, right? I give her credit. She came to some functions. She didn't have an attitude all
She
the
won
time.
one playoff game.
She was mediocre.
She did some good stuff.
So you married Baker first, and now you're married to Deshaun.
But then when it was time to make the moves, I'm trying to solidify. I'm gonna have kids. What we gonna do with this house? What we doing? We build together. I noticed some cracks in the foundation.
Well, that's because you were doing the makeup. That's
I couldn't really go to the next level with her.
Yeah.
That's why my career wasn't where I was at. Now look where I'm at. I got married again. I'm looking good. I'm smelling good, losing weight, out here moving in my. See, that's the difference between getting with somebody that's gonna get you a divisional playoff game and somebody that's gonna take you to the championship game. There you go.
That might be the best analogy you've ever made on this show.
Mic drop.
Your first wife was Baker Mayfield. Your current wife.
She's watching right now, the first wife?
Yeah, she probably still hating. But she know I'm looking good. She know I'm looking, no disrespect.
That's right.
I wish the best luck to you.
Jaquel, have you heard the stories about how G. Bush, with his first wife, was looking at her makeup, and he was looking at her like, babe, your eyebrows are a little crooked. So he looked up YouTube makeup tutorials and took over her makeup kit.
Yeah.
Wait, you were doing her makeup?
Yeah,
Yes.
I told her.
What?
I said her.
And she trusted you to do her makeup?
Her eyebrows were C-. I told her. Her eyebrows were C-.
Oh, no,
She had
I
naked
don't cross
eyebrows.
over to that world.
But I will say this. I give credit. I ain't no hater. I give credit. Her eyebrows now, she got A- eyebrows. For real.
Why the minus? Why not just A?
Well, sometimes she got this eyebrow over here. Every woman's eyebrows is not symmetrical, right? They're like one is either shorter, it can be thinner. Look, she over there.
Wait, you talking about your first wife or your second wife?
No, everybody.
gotta be
Every woman,
careful.
right?
Do you do your second wife's makeup too?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
It's a
Good for
man's
you.
man right
Hey,
Good for you.
You got to get it together. I said, oh, listen.
Now,
this
what
is
if they were to come at you and say, bro, you got some, your eyebrows are all off too?
Well, mine's a little thin right here, but I can't come in there as a grown man. I'm 6'5", 300 something. You can't be running around here with the stencil on. I mean, she tell me I need a haircut.
Can we do that one day for the show?
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Would you let your wife line you up?
No, unacceptable.
Well, why? Wait, whoa.
hold
Rules for thee, but not for me.
I had to practice first. Now, if she get with me and we
Who'd
be
you
like,
practice on?
the first wife.
By the way, the folks may not know, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the air, but there was one day after a show where you were doing Tyvis's hair.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got him together. So something to bring a little
Straightening
something.
him up, filling in some powder.
We were doing it right here.
We were laughing hysterically.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
believe in investing in your woman. You should invest in your woman, right?
Wow.
You should. Right?
Hold on, Brianna's writing something down feverishly on the board. Brianna, what do you got? Just say it.
Look, I can't see. I ain't got no glasses on.
Microblading. Like the microblading.
Oh, yes.
Microblading, that's what you do now.
Is that the thing where they
Just
take
the-
those strings and they like pluck them out?
That's threading.
That's
Right.
threading.
But the micro shading and microblading, that's more permanent, and you don't have to.
Do you know how to do this? Can you teach G.
No,
Bush?
but it's not cheap. It costs from $400 and up.
Oh,
What?
God.
So I learned. I learned the hard way. One of the biggest things that I regret. When you divorce, you say what you gonna pay, what you gotta pay, what you gotta pay, right? So we split up our stuff, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Did she get the makeup kit or did you get it?
No. Forget the makeup kit. I had to pay the laser hair removal bill. So she got laser hair removal everywhere. And so then when we got divorced, she's like, yeah, that's your part. You got to take care of it. So it was
You have to pay her laser removal bill.
it was either that or order furniture and we had a rental apartment or something else. I was like, I'll take that. But then I had to go tell my new wife, yeah, if you see something coming out of my account, that's
Oh,
it.
my goodness.
That's my divorce settlement.
That's that settlement game. But listen,
That's amazing.
Shout out to my wife. She took it all in stride. She was like, at least
That's
you better
amazing.
have it paid before we get married, though.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be paying because otherwise she's paying for
Yeah,
half
right,
of that,
right. She's
too.
paying for it, right?
All right, we're going to
That's
stay on the soundbite train here. Anthony Walker Jr., who really emerged as a leader on this team last year. There's a lot to love about not just his play, but also his energy, and the guys gravitate to his leadership. This week, he said that there is something special going on with this current roster. Let's play this, and then we'll react to it.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest. When I was in Indy, I thought that we established that culture there, and when I came here, it was a little different. And I'm starting to feel what I felt in Indy, when I was there. Just the brotherhood that we had, all the guys coming together, the team camaraderie. Last year, it was, a little standoffish, and, a lot of guys, again, this is professional football, so I get it. But to be a great team, you got to have that camaraderie. You got to have that team mindset, because when you go through the dark days of, sometimes you may lose, or, the dog days of camp, the dog days of this grind, the mini camp and everything like that, you need that team brotherhood, that team bond to keep bringing you together. And I'm glad that we're building that.
DeQuell, talk about that right there, that chemistry that you can't really see but you can feel.
Yes.
How big is that for a team?
That he's exactly right. In Indianapolis, we had that. When I was here, Mike Adams. Mike Adams is a guy, every Friday he would have DB night. Either we'll be at someone's house or we'll go to a restaurant. That builds team chemistry. It is very important in the locker room that guys hang out outside of the building, because the building, it gets monotonous. You're doing the same things, and off the field, you get to know, your teammates' wives, their kids, their family, how they operate, what they believe in, and it's definitely important. The fact that he came out and said it now gives me the idea that now he's really evolving as that team leader. He's that outspoken leader for the defense and for that team, and if he's talking about it, I think it's a great thing. Back to my conversation I had with Ronnie Harrison yesterday at the barbecue, he was also telling me, hey, some guys are throwing a birthday party, and a lot of guys are flying down to Atlanta, wherever the place they were going to go, and I immediately thought this team is going to be pretty good. They're already hanging out. They're already planning to hang out with each other. So I'm a big component of hanging out outside of the building, and it pays huge dividends in the
Bull, was that a shot at Baker, perhaps?
No. As much as I'd love to say it was, I don't think it was.
Because he did kind of imply that it's happening now, meaning it wasn't here last year.
I do think he did, I believe, either before or after that, because I saw somebody tweet this quote and then qualify it by saying he thought COVID was a factor in their life.
That makes sense.
But and another thing,
because they couldn't get together outside of the facility.
Right. Think about this too. Last year, this defense had so many new players.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
There were a ton of new players. This year,
and they couldn't bond outside of the building.
And they couldn't bond because of COVID.
Right.
That was a factor.
Right.
This year, who's new on the defense besides the rookies?
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
All the veterans are the same, right? Did they have any veterans that are new? I don't think so.
No.
Oh, Chase
lost Hill.
Winovich.
Yeah, Chase is new. You're
But
right.
the majority of the key players on this defense have at least been here 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
DeQuell, how big is that? The fact that, not because the first half of the season, we were saying.
Right. Defense was not great for
DC has to go.
Yeah.
Woods was taking all kinds of fire from all sides. But, boy, the second half of the
They
season,
were great.
this was a playoff caliber defense.
Yeah, it pays dividends because the returning guys, they understand the rhythm of how the defensive coordinator makes calls throughout a game, and now you have a sixth sense about it. And when you have a collective effort, when you have collective guys coming back, another year under the system, another year hanging out, another year building that chemistry, now you're going to see a touch better of play. In my opinion, anytime you've been in the system for more than 1 year, multiple years, you go back to the Pittsburgh days, back in the old days when I was playing. Those guys were so good on defense because they ran the same system forever.
Yeah.
And it's simple math, in my opinion.
Sure. I think when I used to always say this, and people say, what the heck does that mean? Either you eat birthday cake with somebody or you don't, right? Birthday cake, if you go to somebody's house, right, and you ain't got no kids. I go to Adam the Bull's house. I ain't got no kids. I bring my wife, and his kid got a birthday party, and he like 9. You gotta know I mess with you. You gotta know we cool, because I'm coming to a little kid's party with nothing to show for it, and I'm just pulling up, having birthday cake with a little kid. If somebody do that for you, you great. It's something about, like, in culture, like, I'm big into food. Like, if you sit down and have a meal with somebody. Like, when you break bread.
Right. It's a bonding event.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
fishing.
Like, that's a thing.
Movies.
And that's that type of stuff that puts you in a different level, man. And you want to be like, hey, I'm going to go out here and play hard for this dude, because we got a shared meaning. Like, other than that, I've been on teams where it's like, I see these guys 5-6 times. And if you play defense, you really don't never see nobody playing offense. They on the other side of the room, and you very rarely see them. Right. But if you're going out having meals with somebody, that's what builds that level of that trust. Sure. Okay,
no
we in it to win it, and we all on the same page.
It's interesting. I happened to see a video of Joe Burrow saying the Bengals should pay Jesse Bates, their safety.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they were like, and somebody asked him, hey, have you seen Jesse? Have you talked to Jesse Bates? He's like, yeah, we're going to Vegas together next year. And I'm thinking the quarterback's going with the safety to Vegas
That's
together.
Why
you want that type of stuff.
They had so much success. That guy understands it. And when you have your top dog that is approachable by everyone, and he's hanging out with everyone,
especially guys on the
defense.
defense.
Team morale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something tells me the birthday party the Browns are planning in Atlanta probably won't include birthday cake. That's just a guess.
No, not
just a guess.
Hey, Atlanta.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you. Hey, listen. I need y'all don't have no ideas.
Don't get in trouble.
No ideas.
Atlanta's the city where you can
honestly,
find
I was thinking birthday cake on top of a woman, but that's probably not a good idea for this team.
No,
bad idea.
no women.
Yeah.
Can we strike
Or
that
men.
comment from the record? Scrub that from the internet.
It's gone forever.
Gone forever?
Erased.
Oh, man, and we can't talk about sex at all now?
No, not that. DeQuell, have you ever been wrong where you said, okay, this team has that chemistry, and that's going to lead to wins? Or,
Why you laughing?
I can't. You play on the Browns.
Every single year.
Well, listen, there might have been times on the Browns where you were like, man, we've got no gel. Or did you ever play for a team where there were walls and there wasn't that camaraderie, particularly away from the site, where you guys hit the field on Sundays and you had it?
No, defensively, we were always tight. You had to be. Because
so it doesn't always equate to success.
No, hell no.
Still get your doors blown off.
No, right.
I like these guys, but these guys still stink.
I had some of the best friendships on the defense because, once you in a situation like that, we don't have an offense, we're not winning, it actually, gels things a lot closer. Mm-hmm. And so you're in the fire with your buddy and you're getting your head pummeled every week. And so it actually brings you together. But just because we were close did not equate to more win. I wish it had.
So we shouldn't be too excited about the fact that this team is really gelling.
Well, this team
it's nice.
Yes.
You'd rather
they got a lot
have
of talent on this team.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
DeQuell didn't have a lot of talent.
Did you
around
ever
him
play
on
a team that was, it would have been in Indianapolis, that was super talented but just didn't get along or didn't have that vibe?
Yeah, so in Indy, the first year it was like that. Maybe because it was my first year there, trying to get acclimated. Mm-hmm. But it was, everyone did their own thing. But once Mike Adams arrived, oh man, he was like, this is a mandate. We're all hanging out on Friday. We're all gonna, even if you come for 5 minutes, you need to come. And then if you didn't come, you would get fined. The teammates will find, hey, that's $20.
Right.
Yeah, it ended up working out.
This is kind of off the beaten trail. I've always wondered, because we were told that Andrew Luck was going to be Jesus in cleats. We heard that he was supposed to be the prototype. That was it. What was it like playing with Andrew Luck? He seemed to be like a little bit of an enigma.
We were talking about this for a while.
Like a little bit of an enigma.
Yeah.
Like I don't really get much. And then he showed up and he was just gone. Right?
Yeah. So he has a personality that you would probably equate to like Myles Garrett, right? He's like an extreme nerd, right? Yep. But he's a great teammate. And Andrew, he had a flip phone. Let's say that. He had a flip phone
he never had
in
social
2015.
media.
A flip phone? Like, you got to be kidding me. But
did he say why?
He was just one of those guys that kind of walked to his own beat of his own drum and kind of did his own thing. But he loved food, he loved wine, and that's how we kind of bonded. Mm-hmm. So he was definitely, gifted is just, he had the talent just jumps off the charts. But in terms of like leadership and he didn't realize the celebrity he was. I was telling Bull before the show, the year we all made the Pro Bowl, it's like 8 guys go to the Pro Bowl. And, the NFL pays for the flight. We're on a Southwest flight. Nothing against Southwest. And we're looking around like, where's Andrew? Maybe we're joking like, oh, he took the team's jet. And no, he comes walking in with a private security. He goes and sits down in the middle seat of a Southwest flight. And everyone recognizes
what he told me.
And it's just like, we land, he's getting mobbed by fans, pictures, the whole deal. And I tap him like, Andrew, do you realize you can go to Mr. Irsay right now and ask for the jet? He will do anything for you. He's like, no. Like, Andrew, please do this.
Get the jet.
Like, he didn't.
Yeah, so we can get on the jet.
Process the concept of him being the face of the league.
Right? Which is odd because his dad grew up in the NFL. He never had the stardom that Andrew had, but you would think that he would have seen his dad go through that life and be a little more acclimated.
We all respected it because he was very approachable. He was one of the guys, but he didn't want any special attention. And he could have asked for anything. The fact that he was getting beat up week in and week out from an offensive standpoint, because of the inability of the offensive line, he could have marched upstairs like, hey, Mr. Irsay, listen, I'm your golden ticket.
Yeah,
Either protect me or I'm out of here. And he just never had that.
Were you surprised that he walked away at the age he did?
Really?
No. Andrew, football to him was, because he was so gifted, so talented, he didn't need football. He never needed football.
Right.
He was so
He's Stanford
beyond.
smart.
Oh, yeah.
He's okay.
So above it. I mean, listen, I never felt like, and that was the issue in the front office, I think. And some players kind of looked at his leadership differently because it felt like at times he didn't need the game. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, when you don't need the game, you don't really care that you're getting beat up week in and week out. You start to question some things here.
Maybe it wasn't as important to him as it was to others.
Yeah, so, I mean, listen, I think he's a great guy. He's still a good friend of mine, but that was my own personal issue I had with him. He could have, put the hammer down when he needed to, and he didn't at times.
Was that the difference between, say, a Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck? Because the skill level with Andrew was clearly there. But with Manning and Brady and even Favre, their fire was, you just felt it. You felt it through the television set, and you could see that everybody on that offense felt it and feared them, really.
You're right. That's the only difference between a Peyton Manning, and I've never played with Peyton, but being in the building in Indy, you hear the stories about Peyton and the comparison, and maybe it's unfair because it's not Andrew's personality. So I've always thought, hey, if you understand that as a decision maker, go out and hire a pit bull on the offensive line that can get the other guys in line.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And it just never really correlated, but that was his only knock.
McNuggets, we want to do top 5 here?
Let's do top 5 and then quick what the internet is saying. So as always, our top 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money up to 20%. Yeah, 20%. Wow. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will not only love, but will help them save money too. Now, yesterday I sent you guys in the group chat that we were going to do some sort of
what happened here?
Basketball.
Yeah, this is way off target.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
What do you mean?
You said you were going to do something with college football or
college football, basketball, and I changed it this morning because
curveball.
Well, yeah, because the Warriors won the NBA Finals last night, and we didn't have it in the show because we had too much other stuff. So this was a way to.
And besides,
it sucks.
Why would we talk about the
Terrible
Warriors
game.
winning another championship?
Wow. Yeah. So
you got some salt for this open cut.
What do you say?
You have some salt for this open cut.
Well, this is the 5 best trophies in sports. So it's a way to give them a tiny bit of credit without ever talking about them whatsoever. So these are the 5 best trophies in sports. And
That's a good topic. I've never really thought about that.
Number 5, Steve. The old Crystal Ball National Championship College Football Trophy. I don't like the new one, but the old BCS Crystal Ball is a swaggy trophy.
It did have some bling to it.
I mean, I'm surprised nobody broke that in all them years, handing the ball to these guys. Usually it's a quarterback or a running back or some skilled guy that got the ball.
That's used to dealing with the
you don't want to give that to a lineman.
Yeah. Don't give it to me.
I'll say what's funny about that trophy is sort of like the Stanley Cup. It was mythical in that everywhere that it went, and they were constantly bringing that to sites during the college football season to show it off, like it would be at the Ohio State Michigan game or whatever. It would come to ESPN a lot. They had a person whose job for the year was to follow that trophy and to take care of it. And it was in a box that was sealed with all this foam and everything, and then they would take it out, and he would have to shine it up before we ever put it on camera.
What do you do for a living? I'm the security guard for a trophy.
I'm the keeper of the trophy.
That's a great bit. Obscure jobs in sports.
Yeah.
Top 5 obscure jobs.
The guy that does the Stanley Cup has the best job because the legend of that trophy is that every player and coach on the winning team gets to have the trophy for a day.
Yeah.
So this dude gets to go to see some real behind-the-scenes stuff. Because what's happened to that, I hope that's your number 1 coolest trophy in sports.
How much you think they get paid to watch the crystal ball? How much you get paid a year?
I'd say that's probably in the 50 range. They're probably not valuing it as much as it really is.
Jimmy.
Because it doesn't generate any revenue, you know? So it's just like.
I mean, for 50 grand, I'm taking it home and, eating soup out of it.
I would almost volunteer to do the Stanley Cup thing for a year for free.
That sounds fun.
Just because you're going to go to some of the greatest parties. You're going to see some things that you won't be able to talk about.
I need a stipend. I at least need a per diem.
We'll pay your meals. All right, what's number 4?
Stanley Cup's coming, don't worry. But number 4, the trophy we want to see most in Cleveland, the Lombardi Trophy. My only issue with it is it gets smudged up. It gets super smudged.
Has it ever
easily.
changed?
Fingerprints everywhere. It's not as clean as some
I don't
other
know.
trophies.
Has that changed? Because DeQuell just asked Jason Lloyd's. Can you remember that if that was what it looked like when they handed out the first one? I'm sure it didn't look like that for the first one. Yeah, I'm sure
that's a good. I need to look that up.
And besides, it certainly wasn't called the Vince Lombardi Trophy because he won the first one. But
everybody won. I think if it's the most prestigious trophy, everybody want that one. That one is like. I asked somebody, what would you rather have, a golden jacket to the NFL Hall of Fame or one of those trophies, a Super Bowl ring? And people be like, I don't know, man, because that's a tough one to ask. A Super Bowl.
What would you rather have? Well,
you know what? I may rather be a Hall of Famer, only because years ago I did a signing during Super Bowl, and Jonathan Ogden was there, and what they were paying me was stark difference than what he was getting. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's
this
an
is
industry.
What Hall of Famers
when you go to the Hall
get?
of Fame, that's an industry.
Yeah. It was crazy. Almost six figures.
Wow, for a signing.
For one signing?
For 2 hours.
I've had Football Hall of Famers tell me that it's like you can run a bake sale whenever you want.
Yes.
So you literally can monetize it to whatever level you want.
Yes.
It's how many appearances do you want to do in a year? How many signings? How many card shows? How many events? And it's there for the taking.
Yes.
Wow. So I think
it's like that.
That's ridiculous.
From the business perspective, I think
perspective.
that is the smart play.
Yes.
I'm trying to find a picture of the first.
I always thought most.
That's it.
That's it.
That is it, but it looked gold.
That was made in 1967.
Wow.
Yeah, so they haven't changed it.
Wow.
For Pete Rozelle and Tiffany made it.
That could be a good trivia.
So, because our executive producer Steve is off camera, you didn't hear what he said, so I'll repeat it. The current Super Bowl trophy is exactly the way it looked for the first one. Pete Rozelle, who was he the first commissioner of the NFL?
Yes.
So I knew he was a longtime commissioner. He was the first commissioner of the NFL. He sketched it on the back of a napkin.
Wow.
Somebody else did and gave it to him.
Oh, somebody else sketched it on the back of a napkin, gave it to. That's kind of how we drafted Johnny Manziel. and then he went to Tiffany and said, "Make this beautiful trophy," and the rest is history. That's number 4.
By the way, I think most players, if they're totally honest, would say what DeQuell says, that they'd rather have the Hall of Fame than the Super Bowl.
I agree.
Because
I think almost every player would say that.
It's hit or miss with this. Like, championships are very overrated in sports to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I love
very
it.
overrated.
You'd love to have both, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But, I love the people that are like, I'd rather be the last man on a championship team than the star of a bad team.
You crazy.
You're full of crap.
Right.
You got a real
I don't
job.
want to be the last man on a championship team.
Every player knows you make the Hall of Fame, what that comes with. When the amount of revenue you can bring in.
And the club that it's like one of the most exclusive and coolest clubs on the planet. Number 3.
Number 3, the Commissioner's Trophy, a.k.a. what you win when you win the World Series. I didn't know it was called the Commissioner's Trophy.
Yeah,
but
I
that's
did,
an awesome
but I'm just a weird baseball
It
geek.
shouldn't be, because the commissioner of baseball is a dope.
Yeah, and the sport hasn't had a lot
guy.
of commissioners that have been loved.
Right.
Why? What is this? Is this interesting trophy? Most prestigious
the coolest.
trophy? That's not the coolest trophy.
Let's move it along, because this is not the best list.
Yeah, thank you.
What's number 2?
Number 2.
I know what number 1 is, but what's number 2?
Number 2, the WWE Heavyweight.
No, get out of here.
Bull's belt isn't on there? Our G. Bush's belt isn't on there?
Oh, my God.
My belt is the best belt.
That's better than the People's Champ belt.
I don't know. I got a hologram on that joint.
By the way,
You just lost me.
I know I'm going to get people mad with this. WWE is not sports.
No, it's entertainment.
They're athletes,
Yeah.
Come on, man.
but it's not a sport because the outcome
Tell the
is
Undertaker
determined.
that, Bull. Yeah, tell the Undertaker that.
The outcome is determined.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not a sport. They're great athletes.
Imagine if the NFL players were actors and they were just going out there and choreographing.
Again, I don't take away from them their athletic ability.
They're very athletic.
A lot of those guys are great athletes.
Right.
Do you guys remember when John Stossel was a reporter for 2020?
Yeah.
And he was doing an interview with a big-time wrestler. I can't remember his name. But he said, who was it?
Dr. Dave Schultz.
Dave Schultz. It was Dave Schultz. He said, what do you have to say about this? This is fake. And he hauled him off
smacked him right in the head.
smacked him, and he cupped him in the ear and did damage. And he sued Schultz and won.
Yeah.
But he beat him up pretty good. And he said, is that fake? And he hit him again.
I loved wrestling when I was a kid. Loved it. But it's not a sport.
No, it's not a sport.
It can't be a sport if the outcomes of the
And
tournament.
number one is got to be the Stanley Cup.
Number one is the Stanley Cup. Yeah. And one of my all-time sports dreams, I want to chug a beer out of the Stanley Cup. I saw some NHL players do it in their post-game celebration. I don't know how I'll ever get
guys
to be
have probably had their butts in there.
This is post-COVID. No, man.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Post-COVID.
The coolest thing about that trophy to me is the name of every player that's ever played for a Stanley Cup winning team is engraved in that trophy. Can you show that?
Can't read them.
Can you take another picture of it? You
cool.
actually can.
We'll
They're
pull
pretty
it back
small,
up,
but
hold
you
on.
can read them. If you call it up, that's why the trophy has all those layers to it.
Yeah, right.
You can see the original layer up at the top, and then they just keep adding layers down and down and down.
That's pretty cool.
By the way, it's not one of my favorite sports, but I instead of the stupid WWE, you should have had like the Wimbledon trophy.
What about
the
What about the
FIFA?
Heisman Trophy?
FIFA.
Heisman, yeah.
Where's the
Can we take
Heisman?
Oh, yeah,
WWE?
The Heisman Trophy is a big miss on my end, hand up, but it was championship trophies, so I didn't consider necessarily the Heisman
Oh,
championship.
okay.
So
No,
what
it's not
about
a championship
Wimbledon?
trophy.
Wimbledon's a plate. Get out of here with
Yeah,
that.
that's not a
cool
good.
looking. I like
The
the
grill jacket is the only one that I didn't know if that was really considered a trophy or
It's
not.
not.
That was kind of
It's
where
not.
I
It's just.
felt.
It's just a gift. It's
considered a badge of douchiness.
The funny story on the Heisman Trophy when Eddie George won the Heisman Trophy, I was working in Columbus, and we were flying back. This is true. I think it was LaGuardia that we flew back from. They made him put the trophy through the X-ray machine, and it broke the hand. It broke the thumb.
What?
And they had to create another trophy for him and give it to him.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
He's freaking Eddie George. You shouldn't have to put
Lady, this guy, did you watch TV last night? Did you read a paper? This is the real, they put it through the X-ray machine and they broke it. That's a true
some
story.
people just don't get it.
Post 9/11, he'd have got patted down. And don't bring no water in there either.
Nuggets.
So we're doing a first here, a back-to-back ad read. This is for PCC Airflow, is what the internet is saying. 'Cause
wow.
we have a big thing to tell you guys. But as always, why don't you guys look at PCC Airflows if you need anything to do with an airplane? Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airflows is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airflows in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions up to $18 an hour. Plus, get full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. And the internet is saying they love DeQuell.
Of course they do.
For the first time in UCSS history, we've broken 3,000 live views in the first hour alone.
Wow. And you know
3,000 in the first hour alone.
What's odd about that is Friday's usually our least watched day.
Yep.
DeQuell, what are you doing next week?
Can we get him a private jet to Cleveland every Friday?
I don't need a private jet. No. I'll be back.
Get
I'll be
Andrew
back
Luck
for
on
sure.
that. Where is he?
No. I'm not surprised at all by that because I told you this the very first time we had DeQuell on the show. When I was with ESPN, I was helping out with their NFL boot camp. And I can't remember if I met you with the NFL boot camp or the one we did that was just for the Browns.
I think it was for the Browns.
I think it was just for the Browns with Jerry Madelon.
Yep.
So we came in, and Jerry, who was at ESPN and ran the boot camp, told me, talk to all the guys, get a sense of who can do this and who can't. And I don't know that I ever told you this, but when the players left, and there were a lot of players that had interest in doing broadcast, when they left, I told Jerry, I said, DeQuell Jackson is going to be a star in this business when he's done playing. Because he's smart, he understands how to give answers in 15-second bursts, and he says a lot of meaningful stuff. And I told Jerry at the time, I go, he's gonna be a star one day on camera.
And not only is DeQuell great with us and whatever he's doing in media-wise, but also he was popular when he was here. I mean,
hugely popular.
They didn't have a lot of players to root for.
Right.
DeQuell was one of the guys, like every week, I think I mentioned this one time, we did on our radio show, we did this segment, Good, Bad, and Ugly. right? And for the most part, your team was ugly.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair,
the team was ugly.
fair.
But every week I'd be like, well, we can put DeQuell on the good list.
Right.
Yeah, he had 17 tackles this week, you know? It was like the one of like 5 guys you could rely on to play well every week, and the fans appreciated that.
And he's the only dude that pulled up with gifts. See,
That's true.
I'm waiting. Hey,
Maybe that's why.
But
I'm
he
getting all
pulled
the
up.
love.
Yeah, he pulled up. That's that mojo. Hey, Tim Couch. I'm gonna see what
Tim
you
hasn't
got.
been here yet.
No, when he comes in.
When you pull up.
I do feel like there should have been a parting shot, if you know what I'm saying.
We have shot glasses.
We do have shot glasses?
You want to pour one up?
Yep.
Can we do
Let's
a
do
parting
it.
shot?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Anthony?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's
do
bring
a
the
shot,
shot
we'll go to
glasses
break.
out.
I'm coming out.
Because DeQuell is DeQuell leaving after the first hour, or is he sticking around?
I thought he said he had to leave.
Yeah, I
but
gotta
if he
catch a
wants
flight,
to stay,
unfortunately.
yeah, he's got to
Yeah.
leave.
By the way, if they
I'm going to Something in the Water festival, and my wife was like, "You have to be
Okay,
there."
so you got to go.
Yeah.
All right, so we have four shots here for our parting shot.
All right.
Let's. Who though is going to open their bottle and
Right.
pour 4 shots out of it? Because I don't. I'm saving
Open
mine.
mine?
I'm saving mine.
I was going to use mine for a party.
Who wants the championship one?
Who's the 4th one for? Open
Wait,
yours,
wait.
Mike.
It is.
No, it
is
was for Brad,
For
for Brad.
McNuggets.
Oh.
No,
He thought it was going to be for Brad Sellers, but Brad's not here today.
G's gonna, G, you want to
Save
open
it
yours?
for no.
you
You're too
gonna
young.
make me open mine?
Well,
What if, look,
Open Brad.
open Brad. There you go.
Big homie. Hey, big homie. Hey, listen. Plus, watch me if I gotta go through Warrensville. I wasn't even drinking. This is a prop.
No, by the time you drink, or by the time you drive, it's going to be well over 2 hours from now.
Well, you know, Jay. I'm losing so much weight, it goes right to my bloodstream. You know.
Are these clean, Anthony?
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to point that out. None of us will be driving within the next 2 hours.
No.
So we're clear on that. Yeah. Oh, I love the cork top too.
Smells good. You want to smell that?
Oh yeah, I want to smell that too.
All right.
That sounded a little creepy, Jay.
Okay, that's smooth.
Maybe
That
we
is
won't do a
good stuff.
full
Okay,
shot.
that
We don't want to.
Yeah, like a little shot.
This
That's
is probably
good.
the first time in history we're doing shots on air. By the way,
It might be the
Does
last
smell
too.
good.
Our boss Steve is over there going, I'm not watching this.
Is it?
This is okay, right?
that's the last one. Give that.
Where?
Shot glass yet.
Okay.
Hey, but we gonna. Hey, listen. Hey,
Here, take that.
they said, listen. Hey, don't be bringing no more bottles up in here.
I'm gonna let DeQuell give the toast because
Yeah.
he's the guest and it's his scotch.
I want to say, thank you guys for embracing me. Thank you for the Cleveland community. And you know what? This show is going to be one that it sticks around for a very long time, and I appreciate
That's
the
all.
love.
Here, buddy.
Yes,
Bottoms up.
yes. Cheers.
You can't do this on the radio.
Ooh, that's good. There's no pinch, no bite, very smooth.
That is very good. I don't even drink it all because I
Very
don't usually
good.
like alcohol. But
Stop
that was
playing
really
around.
good.
Y'all ain't no professional drinkers. Y'all better go get
That's
that
very
water.
good.
All right, we're taking a break. DeQuell,
The show's only going to get better.
a million thanks. Yeah, you don't want to miss the next hour, trust me. DeQuell, thanks,
She's
man.
going to be
Great
naked
to
by
see
the
you,
end of the
brother.
show.
Appreciate you, man.
More Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and who knows where it's going from here. Right after this.
That was all.